This is a note. The dark circle is a note head. Sometimes this note head isn't always colored in, as we'll see in a moment. The line going up on the right side or down on the left side of the note head is called a stem. The hook coming from the stem in the next note is called a flag. We can have more than one flag on a note. The heavy line connecting these two notes is called a beam. We can have more than one beam, as we'll see in a moment. This is a whole note. It doesn't have a stem, nor is it colored in. This is a half note. It does have a stem, but it is not colored in. This is a quarter note. It has a stem going up on the right side or down on the left. Notice it is colored in. This is an eighth note. It has a stem and it is colored in like a quarter note, but it also has a flag. Sometimes, whenever two or more eighth notes are joined or beamed together, they look like this. This is a 16th note. It looks also like a quarter note with two flags. Whenever two or more 16th notes are joined together, they look like this. In printed music, these notes are contained between bar lines. The space between each bar line is a measure. At the end of the piece, there's a double bar line signifying the end of the composition. As you look at some sheet music, notice the two numbers, one on top of the other, at the very beginning of the piece. This is the time signature. The number on top, 3, tells how many counts in each measure. The bottom number tells which note value receives one count. According to the bottom number, time values are assigned to each note. The bottom number in this time signature is 4. 4 means quarter note. In 3/4 time, a quarter note receives one count, and there are 3 counts in every measure. In a time signature of 4/4, which is also symbolized by a large C, there are 4 counts in a measure, with the quarter note getting 1 count. With the time signature of 2/4, the same rules apply. 2 beats to a measure, a quarter note receiving 1 beat. In a time signature with 4 as the bottom number, a whole note receives all 4 counts of the measure. A half note receives 2 counts per note. It would take 2 half notes to make up one full measure of 4/4 time, each half note receiving 2 counts. A quarter note receives 1 count. It would take 4 quarter notes to make up a full measure of 4/4 time. The eighth note receives half of a count. It would take 8 eighth notes to make up a full measure of 4/4 time. The 16th note receives a quarter of a count. It would take 16 16th notes to make up one full measure of 4/4 time. We are now going to use these facts to count and clap rhythm patterns. A good tool musicians use in keeping a steady beat while playing is a metronome. We will start with a slow tempo. Tempo, that's a new term meaning rate of speed. Let's take the time to look and listen to various tempo markings. A slow tempo is adagio or largo. A medium tempo is andante or moderato. A fast tempo is allegro or vivace. While counting, internalize the beat. Don't just listen to the ticking. Everything starts over at the bar line. After counting the beats in the first measure, start over on count 1 for the next measure. Count a full measure of time before starting to establish that steady beat. Now let's clap while counting aloud the following examples. We will start with the adagio tempo. Watch the time signature changes. The first example is in 4/4 time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Going on to the second example in 3/4 time. 1, 2, 3. still at the adagio tempo. Going on to the next example in 2/4 time, 2 beats to a measure. 1, 2. Now let's take these same examples again, this time at the moderato tempo. Number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next example in 3/4 time, still at the moderato tempo. 1, 2, 3. The last example, 2 beats to a measure, still at the moderato tempo. 1, 2. Let's take all 3 examples again, this time vivace. The first example, 1, 2, 3, 4. The next example in 3/4 time, 1, 2, 3. The last example in 2/4 time, 1, 2.